we've made it to the top of Australia, and that's our first extreme conquered. 1 down and 5 to go.
So when you're going across a river like that, what do you think might happen?
I think the car might turn over on its side.
Because it's lurching around so much?
Yeah, so he's like, it's going to the left or to the right, and you're thinking it's going to keep going.
The car then just fell over.
And there was silence, just silence. And I thought, oh my God, I've killed my babies.
At this point, the insurance company said, well, that's it, it's a write-off.
Just said, Steve, I've done it. I've absolutely stuffed it.
I think I can hear it running. Nice purr of a brand new engine there.
Today's our last day before we leave. Basically, I've come out here to put the rest of our gear into storage that we're leaving behind. It's now been 11 weeks since the crash, and after what seemed like an endless list of things to do, we're finally ready to hit the road again.
Let's drive around Australia, hey?
Okay.
We've only got about 3 months to get from down here in the southeast all the way to Broome, which is right up in the northwest corner.
So we shake all the car lethargy out of them.
Gee, they look so much like scallops.
It tastes good, eh?
We'll come out going to town and the car won't start. I've had a look at the battery and it looks like it's pretty much cactus. So I'm not really sure why. The battery's less than 2 years old. So what I'm trying to do at the moment is just jump off the second battery and we'll see if that works. And as you can see, that ain't working either. Either there's not enough charge in it or the leads are just too light. The leads are very hot. All the acid inside's got all sort of flaky stuff in it. So what I'll do is I'll try taking this battery out and actually putting it in where the main battery goes. We'll try that, and then if that doesn't work, I'll have to get the generator out and recharge it. Going to Port Lincoln to get a new battery. Now the real issue here is that my jumper cables weren't strong enough, weren't thick enough to be able to jump from the second battery to the first battery. So there's a bit of a lesson in that.
Now I've got to tell you, for anyone that wants to be doing this at home, wear the right footwear. Something like Savanna's would be great. That is the appropriate footwear. What it's actually doing is that it's flicking up the mud on the back of my legs. It's also glides over the green slimy stuff. Glides. I'll be gliding on my bottom very soon, I can see it.
Well, after seeing how it was done yesterday, I couldn't resist the urge to get out here and have a go myself, so we dragged the whole family somewhat reluctantly out here this morning. Got the weapon. Found one.
Got it. Use your blunt side of your knife.
Turn your knife around it and go along the shelf.
Let's cut her off.
Daddy, open it.
Daddy's trying.
Daddy's wishing to put his gloves on at this point. See, that's the bit in there. All this other stuff. We don't need that. Yeah, see? We actually cut that off there.
I don't want a bit yet. I'll have some for dinner.
You don't want some now? Whoop.
Oh, Daddy, you can eat it. You eat it. Tastes nice. Tastes nice, okay?
It's quite nice actually. Sort of like an oyster, but not quite as strong.
Daddy, get it.
There we go.
I knew there'd be crabs out here.
The bonus.
This is a blue swimmer crab, and they're pretty good eating as well.
They're flat.
Yeah, they are. So they're very good for pushing along in the water.
Come on, Mummy's stuck in the mud, sweet.
She wants to stand there forever.
That's what a big one looks like. It's like a scallop, but it's very hard. Well, scallops are quite soft, but these are very hard.
So after all the hard work this morning, it's time for dinner.
It's crab.
The idea is just take that band off that's around them.
Here we are with Sue and Terry. Sue's going to show us how to pickle some of the razorfish that we caught earlier this morning.
That's it.
And she assures us that it's very simple. And then after that, we're actually going to cook a bit of garlic.
Bit of garlic. Bit of chilli.
Beautiful.
And then we just put in some vinegar to fill the jar.
Right.
That's all we need to do.
So how long will they stay good for?
I would say up to a month.
Okay.
If you can resist them that long.
Yeah, I was going to say they'll be lucky if they last a week, but...
Yeah.
Are you filming? Because I'm not going to do this if you're not. That's all right. Delicious. Okay, then, thanks.
Would you like some?
Reminds me of the pickled herring I used to eat when I was a kid. That my dad used to make.
Somebody likes them.
They do look very similar to scallops and even prawns, really, don't they? And that sort of, you know, when you batter a prawn meat,
Yeah, absolutely.
that sort of consistency.
Very much so.
Can I have another one of those, Dad?
Did you like that, Shara? Nice, isn't it?
Beautiful.
So, is it as good as having it out of the jar?
Totally delicious. You're not having any.
Yes, lovely big one. So worth it.
You've done well, guys.
Don't need to go up the road and tell anyone.
It's our secret, don't worry. No one knows.
No one will know, no.
In a secret location.
Yeah.
Streaky Bay, Smoky Bay.
Here we are at Streaky Bay. Best razor fishing in Australia.
Singing lessons are #1 priority. As much as we've loved being in Lincoln National Park, I'm looking forward to a night in the caravan park tonight for 2 reasons. 1, I get to wash myself. 2, I get to wash my children because they are filthy.
Boat's all ready to go up on top. Look at that. Bikes are waiting to go back in. Well, the tent's all packed up, that's progress. All the kitchen's all packed up inside. Camper trailer's nearly full. Roof rack's got some things to be put onto it. Girls are at school. Car's almost packed up, so I mean, it looks like we're nearly finished. We're probably an hour and a half away.
Well, it's just gone midday and we've finally hit the road. We're heading west towards the start of the Nullarbor plain.
Get to have a shower today. I'm feeling pretty crusty. I'm going to go and stand under some hot water for about 15 minutes and start to feel human again.
Well, the pressure's on for us to keep moving, and today we're pushing on to Savanna, which is the last town before the start of the Nullarbor. We're gradually leaving civilization behind as we push further west, but there's so many great spots here on the Eyre Peninsula that we're missing because we're trying to make up time.
We're going from South Australia to Western Australia. What's the rules and what we can take and what we can't?
The quarantine laws crossing into Western Australia are pretty strict, so I'm getting the rundown from Anne as to what we can't take across the border.
There is no honey products of any description. Now, to get anything through the point there at the border village, it's processed. Make a fruit salad, cut it up, dice it like this.
Yeah. So basically, if we're going to take any fresh food across there, we have to skin it, peel it,
Process it.
slice it, dice it,
Cook it.
or eat it.
Yeah, cook it or eat it.
It's times like this when the long range tank really comes into play. We're in Savanna and we're getting fuel for 137.5, which is not too bad. We can get about 1,400 kilometres range out of the 2 tanks that we've got in the car. So basically we can bypass all the expensive fuel stops in the middle there and not have to fill up until we get to the other side.
The Nullarbor plain is about 1,000 kilometres of very flat and very remote country on Australia's southern coastline. These days it's sealed road all the way, but it used to be dirt road, and saying that you'd crossed the Nullarbor was something to brag about. We'd better get used to this view because it's not going to change much in the next couple of days. We've got over 250 litres of fuel on board and plenty of food and water, so we're pretty much self-sufficient.
Now here's all of our contraband that we're not allowed to take over the border. Some lemons, onion and some honey. We've got 2.5 loaves of bread. We're having honey and toast for breakfast.
about 2 o'clock in the morning and I thought I heard something outside the camper. I've come outside to find a couple of dingoes prowling around our camp trying to get to our food. I wonder if they like onions or honey. It's really spectacular here in the morning as the sun rises. The mist coming off the sea about 15 kilometres away is creating this amazing red glow in the air.
We've woken up this morning to what looks like it's been rain. It's actually so wet out here. This is just condensation off of the table here. It's unbelievable. But there was definitely no rain last night. We also had a bit of dingo activity last night and actually chewed up our water. I don't know if they were trying to actually get to the water in the container or to the food in the tub that it was sitting on. I put it on there last night to stop the dingoes getting into the food, but they're fairly determined. There's also a nice big footprint here on our kitchen tub.
When most people think of the Nullarbor, this is what they imagine. Vast expanses of nothing. This is actually the treeless plain in Nullarbor National Park. There's pretty much nothing for as far as the eye can see. It just goes on and on and on. It's another 150 kilometres to the border, but we're going to stop here and check out the view over the edge of the continent.
If you fall down there, that's it, you'll be gone forever.
This is the Great Australian Bight, which stretches across Australia's southern coastline.
You really can't describe the feeling. It's quite amazing just to be standing at the edge, like that.
The edge of the continent.
Yeah, it's quite amazing.
If you're here between June and October, you can watch southern right whales who come here each year to breed and give birth. There's none here in March though, unfortunately. How's that for a spectacular coastline?
There's signs everywhere here that says don't get too close to the edge because it could crumble at any time. When I walked out towards, there's big cracks across the ground that are obviously the start of the edge going to crumble away at some point. Whether it's going to happen today or in 1,000 years from now, it's pretty hard to tell, but one of the 12 apostles collapsed only a year or so ago, so it does happen, and it does happen in our lifetime. So I guess the message is don't get too close to the edge.
This is about as difficult as border crossings get in Australia, so compared with other places in the world, I guess we've got it pretty easy.
This is where they do the cavity searches.
With desert and outback from pretty much down here in the Great Australian Bight all the way to the top of Australia, there's not much chance of disease and pest getting across into Western Australia anyway. So the only way it's going to happen is by road. And this is what this quarantine border is all about.
Hey mate.
Oh, dear.
Get that off me.
The main thing they're looking for is fresh fruit and veggies because they could be carrying disease or pests. And of course honey or any bee products which have the potential to be carrying bacteria.
Well, didn't hurt too much.
We're rushing across the bottom of Australia to try and catch up time, but we've got so much to look forward to. Western Australia takes up about a third of the Australian continent. We've got a few months to see as much of it as we possibly can. The new engines all run in now and the cars are running like a dream. We're really getting into the road trip lifestyle now and we've got nearly 10 months of travelling to go.
It is the very start of the longest, straightest stretch of road in Australia.
facilities here to make sure it's satisfactory. Oh, lovely. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Yeah, it's perfect, no problem. You'll love it.
Is it really ordinary? What?
No, I'll just wait near the camera. Right, just me. There are times when being a bloke has its advantages. Probably see through the door here.
That was just the most ghastly thing.
We've made it to Batavia Roadhouse, which is nearly at the western end of the Nullarbor. We're going to turn south here and head towards the coast. This guy at the roadhouse reckons the road south is in pretty good nick. I'm pretty sure this wreck is here to discourage us from speeding. Not that there's much chance of that in our rig.
Well, our trip across the Nullarbor has come to an end. We've turned south now on the Batavia Road that runs down to Duke of Orleans Bay towards Esperance. It's like a dirt road shortcut into the back of Esperance. Goes through Cape LeGrand National Park.
We've heard that the beaches along the south coast are pretty spectacular, so we're going to follow the coastline around instead of heading overland to Perth. Jen hasn't quite figured it out that it's the passenger's job to open and close the gates. It's amazing that back at Baladonia they're struggling with severe water shortages, but as soon as we head to the coast it starts raining.
We're here on LeGrand Beach, right in the heart of Cape LeGrand National Park, and the beach just stretches for miles. It's beautiful white sand. I think it must be nearly 100 metres wide at low tide, and the best part is you drive on the beach.
You can actually drive all the way to Esperance on this beach, but we haven't refueled since Savanna and we're running pretty low, so we're just going to have a little look around. Ever get the feeling you're being watched?
How many K did you do that?
I don't know, because I didn't take the doofy with me.
Oh dear, not the doofy.
Not the doofy. I can't remember where I put it.
There it is.
There's the doofy. I don't know. Probably about the same. I did a bit of uphill work today as well, so it's good.
While we're in Albany, we've come up to check out the Anzac Memorial on Mount
And
Clarence.
the masonry was salvaged and brought to Australia for re-erection on this site, which for many troops who sailed from King George Sound in 1914 was their last glimpse of Australian soil. So as the troops were sailing off, this was the last bit that they saw. So this is for the Australian and New Zealand troops that died between 1916 and 1918 whilst fighting in Egypt and Palestine and Syria. Did you know that there was a camel corps? Did you know that?
No, I didn't know.
After a couple of weeks in the wilderness, Jen's taking the girls out for some shopping therapy.
So Savanna, have you lost something? What have you lost?
My baby.
Where is she?
I don't know where she is.
Where did you have her last?
I had her at the cafe.
Good luck.
Thanks.
We're just doing a few laps of the block here while Jan and Savannah go and look for Andrea. Let's hope we find her, otherwise it'll be big drama. Have the baby!
The joy, the rapture. We went up to the bookshop. Do you have a baby doll here? She said, yes, we do. And they even made a nice bed for her, a little box, didn't they? And she said she slept here the night. She had a very peaceful night and she was looking forward to her mummy to come and get her today.
You happy?
Oh, Andrea.
You can look after her from now on?
Yeah, we decided that we're not going to take her out of the car when we go shopping again.
That's a real good idea.
Yeah.
Now that Andrea's back on board and everything's right with the world, we're heading over to Margaret River, which is another one of Australia's great wine regions. We'd originally planned to spend a week around Margaret River exploring the area, but we have to get back on schedule, so we've shortened that to just one day.
We've arrived in Margaret River and we're a bit late. It's about 7:30, and we're only here for about a day and a half, and there's a real lot of things we want to get done. So we've decided to take the easy option and go for a cabin.
This is very civilised, isn't it? It's like having a little mini home.
There we go. Oh, look at that!
See? Microwave. The luxury of a toilet. That's a really big deal.
Cute.
Alright, should we better get the kids out of the car, I suppose?
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Here's one.
She escaped. Down one day and how many wineries?
I think there's about 90 listed on this thing there, so...
Boy, we're going to be busy.
Cheese factory first, but then we'll be right for some nice wine tasting.
First stop on the agenda is some cheese tasting. Savannah's a little cheese connoisseur, so there's no chance of us missing this one.
This is farmhouse cheese with chives and onion.
That's nice, isn't it?
It's the same as onion cheese.
Is it?
Or mine.
As far as wine regions go, Margaret River is actually pretty young, with the first significant vines being planted in the late 1960s.
Just so you know, Jen, this is the sort of place I want when we settle down and stop travelling and all that.
Okay.
We'll have one of these, alright?
Okay.
The near-perfect growing conditions have enabled the Margaret River area to grow quickly into one of the most highly regarded wine regions in the world. There's over 150 wineries producing a wide range of wines from Chardonnay and Sauvignon, Semillon Blancs to Cabernet Sauvignon, Shiraz and even Sangiovese.
Fast Felix has made a wine that's no good. They haven't told me about it, that's for sure.
It's just a shame we can't spend a week trying them all. Next stop is another big name we see a lot of in the eastern states, Evans and Tate.
Well, that's nice. Problem is with wine, I'm not fussy enough, am I? They all taste good. I've stashed the kids. We're in the playground. Grab your bag, buy a bottle, let's get out of here.
Well, we didn't abandon the kids and we've discovered the Bootleg Brewery.
This is possibly the best chicken parma I've ever had in my life.
Okay, so we start off with Amber Light.
The brewery produces 6 types of beer, from the Settlers Pale Ale and Southwest Wheat right through the Dark Raging Bull at 7.1% alcohol, which would really get the party started.
Thank you. Guys?
I'd love to try them all, but I have to drive, so unfortunately it's just a sip. And just for something different, tonight we're going to keep the camper trailer packed away and stay in a train carriage instead.
It's got something wrong with his leg. He goes...
Has he got a sore leg, has he?
Yeah, he walks funny.
What do you reckon this goat's name is?
I don't know.
Billy? Billy Goat?
This one needs a manicure.
His nails are growing really long. They probably would, ordinarily, if he's jumping around on the rocks and stuff, they'd get worn down anyway.
Today we're going to drop in and visit my Uncle Malcolm. We haven't seen him for a few years, so it's going to be great to catch up. His house backs onto the Murray River, so he's taking us out for a cruise on his boat to check out the neighbourhood.
You can't stand it.
Don't touch anything.
Watch your back there, mate.
Night with that one.
Especially when you lift me in.
I'll go over this side while he gets in.
tough life, isn't it?
Oh, mate, it is. It is really.
There he is. You see? I think that's another one over there. I think there's about 3 of them altogether.
Do you get any of that, Steve?
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. Aren't they just so graceful, aren't they?
I'll find the hair of my tinny tin tin.
I think we'll get one like this. We have a hard time turning upside down to get on top of the camper trailer though. Well,
And if we could remember awful,
could be a bit of meat.
the able one.
Sarah's thinking, I want to do that.
It's like Jackie.
There you go. That was good. Everybody have fun?
Okay, girls, I can see the big smoke in front of us now. We're constantly on the lookout for caravan parks that cater for kids, and this one looks like a good one. It's good for them, but it's also good for us.
And this playground has basically enabled Steve and I to get a fair amount of work done without having to worry about kids, because they met up with other kids and played. But better still is that our camp is right opposite the playground.
What's that in your hand?
This is your business activity statement. I'm being very prompt a week after end of month, and I've already got it sussed out and done and ready to go. Your files are too fat, Steve.
Just paperwork.
That's it. Beautiful. Click, click, click.
Done.
Lovely.
There we go.
Thank you.
Too easy.
Well, darling.
So we're here at the Maritime Museum down in Fremantle, and this is where they keep all the pieces of shipwrecks that they find up and down the coast here. And specifically we're interested in the Batavia, and they've got a piece of the wreck here that they've brought up and restored. When I arrived at my Uncle Malcolm's last week, there on the wall was this big painting of this ship that was about to hit a reef. I asked him about it, he said, oh yeah, that's the Batavia, and I was like, wow, that's amazing. Yeah, we're going to go and have a look at the Batavia when we get to Fremantle. And he said, yeah, your grandfather painted that, which just really blew me away. I never knew my grandfather. He left when I was a baby, and I've never met him. He died a few years ago. So it's a little bit spooky that it's obviously meant something to him, and it just captured my imagination the first time I heard about it. But anyway, we're going to go in and have a look at the ship, or what's left of it, and hopefully when we get further up the coast we'll get out to the Abrolhos Islands where the ship actually met its demise, and find out what we can up there as well.
The story of the Batavia is some of the earliest European history in Australia. Back in the 1600s, Dutch trading ships from the Dutch East India Company would head east across the Indian Ocean from South Africa until they reached the west coast of Australia, then follow the coastline north up into Asia. The Batavia was one of these ships, and on its maiden voyage under full sail on the night of the 4th of June 1629 in a huge storm, the ship hit a reef in the Wallaby group of the Abrolhos Islands. "200 people survived the wreck, and they managed to make it to shore. Desperate to get help for all his passengers and crew, the commander of the ship and a group of sailors set sail in the longboat for Indonesia to the north, and they left the survivors to try and survive on what they could find on the islands. After the captain left, the Batavia's under-merchant, a guy named Geronimus Cornelius, decided to increase his chances of survival by reducing the number of mouths to feed. He assembled a band of fellow mutineers, and together they systematically murdered over 100 of the survivors. Amazingly, the captain made it to Indonesia and returned in a ship to rescue the castaways. And when he discovered the carnage that had occurred while he was gone, he rounded up Cornelius and his cohorts and promptly executed them. The wreck of the Batavia was excavated from the reef in the mid-1970s and put on display along with many other artefacts from the ship here in Fremantle and in the Western Australian Museum in Geraldton.
So we're leaving Fremantle tomorrow, and our plan is that we're going to head north to get into Savanna, which is the little town there, set up camp, and then head down to the pinnacles Hidden National Park.
So this is like our last city, basically, until we go into Alice Springs.
Really, this is the start of the real adventure the part of the trip. And as much as it's still bitumen road and it will be for a long time, Perth's the last city we're going to see until Alice Springs, and you wouldn't call Alice Springs a city, it's really just a big country town. And then Darwin will be the next one after that. Darwin's just a bigger country town. So really, until we get right over to the east coast again, it's going to be a lot more of the the outback, and a lot more dirt roads. And really, this is the adventurous part of the trip. Pretty much starts now.
These are the famous pinnacles, and I've come out here before dawn to film the sunrise. It's hard to find a definite explanation of how these pinnacles came to be here, but I do know that they're made up of the limestone remains of ancient fossilised seashells. Definitely worth the detour to see them.
I read a review in a book on the way out here, and they said, they were really disappointed by it, and I just don't get it. It's a very, very beautiful, spectacular place. I've come out here just before dawn to get the sunrise, and I think that's the best time of the day to do it.
Being very Aussie. We're having Vegemite and cheese sandwiches.
We're running out of coffee sachets, so we're going to go stay in a hotel and get some more. This is unbelievable, you know. In the life of the Dutch East India Company, over 1 million people worked for that company, and 2/3 of them died on the job. Isn't that amazing? So we're in the cemetery here at Dongara, just south of Geraldton. It's where my grandfather was buried. I'd never met him. He died 5 or 6 years ago, lived over here his whole life, and he left when I was a baby. So we're on this side of the country and thought we'd drop in and pay him a visit. 6 years too late, but still.
Steve, how you feeling?
I feel like I wish I'd gotten to know him. He was an artist, and he was a painter. And I wish I'd gotten to know him a bit better.
Got a great spot under lovely trees here.
Yeah.
Hey.
That's great.
One of the biggest challenges that we find once we get away from the big cities is getting a good supply of fresh food.
Well, it's slightly better than baked beans on toast.
Yeah.
Barely.
Yeah?
Barely. You know.
Is it edible?
I think so, but it's probably going to be questionable. You know that I'm not very good at this sort of stuff. Got a couple of little crays here. I don't know. I think it's slightly overrated.
It's roughing it, really, isn't it? Yeah.
A salad.
Is that avocado I see on that salad?
Yeah, there's avocado and some couscous. It's very vicious. Don't be so vicious with it. It's karma, Steve, remember?
Well, I didn't kill it.
But you're the one that's hacking it to pieces like that.
This one's still half frozen, that's the problem. I thought you said you just caught these this afternoon.
You reckon he was telling you the truth?
I said, didn't you say you caught them this afternoon?
I have to confess that we didn't catch these crays ourselves.
It's got caviar in it.
Oh.
We actually bought them for $10 each from a fisherman who came around to the camp selling them for cash.
I'm sure there's a method to this, but
We don't know it.
there's a lot of meat in there. You like it? What's it taste like?
Like prawn?
Yeah. What do you guys got?
Bread and butter custard.
Bread and butter custard.
Fantastic. Cooked on the old cob stove, eh?
Looking good.
I was going to include one of these cob stoves in our kit, but we just don't have the space. I couldn't even fit our camp oven in. Today's Savanna's 5th birthday.
I watch.
Check it out.
See?
What's that?
Money!
How much is that?
Open it.
How much is that, Savannah?
$20.
Who's that from?
It's $48 she's got in her purse now. She's got more money than me.
I'll beat her up for a loan. Hi Ross, how are you?
I found out about a helicopter service that flies out of Geraldton to the Abrolhos Islands where the Batavia ship was wrecked nearly 400 years ago. I'm just giving them a call now to see if we can arrange a trip out there to see the islands and the crash site where all the drama happened.
If we stick around for another day, we can all go out tomorrow.
So we need to have a look at our itinerary then, don't we?
Yeah. I mean, we certainly all want to get out there, don't we? I mean,
Yeah.
it's you know, it's not just...
Well, you won't have half as much fun if we're not there.
That's right. Of course. I mean, if you can't go, it's just not worth going at all.
That's right. I wouldn't let you go. So.
Oh, right. Okay. Wasn't that long ago that I was under here changing the oil last time, but it was just over 5,000 k's ago, and it was about 7 weeks. So you sure clock up the k's in this kind of around Australia adventure. Little tip I learnt from a mechanic mate of mine was to write the kilometres on the top of the filter. Anytime I look under the bonnet, quick glance at the k's, I can keep an eye on where we're at. It's not super tight, otherwise you'd never get it off and you're just crushing the seal. That's it, done.
There goes the helicopter we'll be on tomorrow.
We're halfway up the dipstick, so we're almost there. I reckon you can hear the new oil.
I think we should go to McDonald's.
You think so?
Yeah.
And what are you going to have for dinner?
Normally I have a cheeseburger for lunch, but for a little treat I might have some nuggets. Chicken nuggets. I might have 6 of them. And how did I make nuggets?
Well, that's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah. Chickens go in a big machine when they can't lay eggs anymore. And then they get hammered, and then through the thingy out comes a nugget.
Oh, okay. Is that how it works?
Well, they have to go through this chopper and then through another machine, then they come out and then they go bang and then they go out onto there and you eat them.
Oh, okay. And even after knowing all that, you still eat nuggets?
Yeah?
You don't mind?
Nah.
I'm going to make this a stable part of my wardrobe.
And I got a new outfit for my baby.
Oh, good job.
The guys here at Prestige Helicopters are going to take us out over the Batavia crash site. They're going to let me sit in the doorway of the chopper as well, and hopefully I'll get some good shots.
Just worried if I really need to pull hard on this, what the consequences might be. This is the bit that holds me into the helicopter.
Okay.
This helicopter is a Sikorsky S-62A, which was built in America in the 1960s. They were widely used as Coast Guard search and rescue choppers, although this one was owned by Chevron Oil.
Look at you in your dicky harness there.
It's recently been completely restored to as-new condition, which cost around $1 million. The Wallaby group of the Abrolhos Islands are around 80 kilometres off the coast from Geraldton. Prestige Helicopters runs a passenger and freight service for the people who live out there, mostly fishermen and their families. So I have to wonder why the captain of the Batavia didn't use the longboat to ferry everyone to the mainland before he went for help. Would seem to make more sense. We're just coming up to the Wallaby Island group now. This is where the Batavia nightmare took place nearly 400 years ago. That white area down there is where the Batavia crashed into the reef on the night of the 4th of June 1629. We're just going to fly around again and have another look. Just imagine how terrifying that must have been for the people on that ship. The wreck was excavated from the reef in the 1970s. Must have been a big job. So the passengers had to make their way across this reef in the middle of a storm, in the middle of the night, and try and find refuge on these islands. Eventually about 200 of the original 340 passengers made it here to what's now Beacon Island, but it's also known as Batavia's graveyard. By the time help arrived, Geronimus Cornelius and his men had murdered over 120 of the survivors. Once Pelsart returned in a rescue ship and discovered the treachery, he constructed gallows here on Long Island, and Geronimus and his cohorts were hanged. In fact, Geronimus even had his hands cut off first. This is West Wallaby Island, about 5 miles west of Beacon. It's where the Batavia soldiers made a stand against the mutineers. The most amazing part of this whole story is that it's true, and it all happened over 100 years before Captain Cook was even born. We'll make a great movie. We're just landing here to drop off some passengers. The people who live out here are mostly in the crayfishing business, but tourism's growing as people discover how amazing the reefs are around these islands. There's seals down there on the beach. Well, the work's done, it's time to head home. After a few great days in Geraldton, we're pushing on northward. We spend most of our time sitting on 90 k's an hour, so it's usually us that are being overtaken on the highways. Today we're heading up to Monkey Mire, which is famous for the dolphins that come right up to the beach to be hand-fed. After that we'll be heading out to Steep Point, which is the westernmost point of the continent and the second one of our extreme challenges. And we finally made it after a long day on the road. It's about 5 o'clock in the morning and the wind's been blowing all night, so we haven't had much sleep.
Bad sleep last night, Jim.
I barely did. It's awful.
That squeaking just drives you mad, doesn't it?
Up there, yeah.
Look at the itchy butt. Look at that itchy butt.
Oh dear.
Huge.
Big one, isn't it, mate?
Big, big one.
Huge big one.
Yeah. But
The dolphins have been coming into the beach at Monkey Mire every morning for over 40 years, and they were originally attracted by local fishermen cleaning their fish. These are wild dolphins, but the daily feed on the beach has been going on their whole life, so they really don't know any different. These days it's all very heavily managed, as it's a huge tourist draw card. They're not in a hurry, they just work their way in slowly.
So they can get quite aggressive at times, which is quite often you'll see rake marks, like with Piccolo, her damaged dorsal fin. That was done by male dolphins' teeth.
This is quite a special moment actually. I don't think I've ever seen dolphins quite this close. They're just beautiful and grace and just got this whole chilled out sort of mode, I think.
She still moves in more. Isn't she lovely? And if she rolls on the side as they do to look at us, you see she's hardly got any of those grey speckles. As she gets older, she'll get more and more.
And now that they're all here, it's breakfast time.
Grab that one really tight and down in the water for park.
Half a dozen fish at the most.
Is that good? Give him a fish. Thank you. Okay, and what was the dolphin's name?
Puck.
How old's Puck?
29.
Wow, that's pretty old, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's a bit older than you.
Yeah.
Did he bite your fingers?
No.
No?
Doesn't bite people at all.
No, you weren't scared?
No.
What sort of fish was it?
Oh, it was a sort of a golden fish with a bit of yellow on it with some black spots.
Oh, okay. Did it taste nice?
Pardon?
Did it taste nice?
Why are you saying that to me? I didn't eat it.
Dolphin liked it, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
So what are we doing today?
We're going to Steep Point, the most westerly point in Australia. Okay, go. Come on.
It was a king brown snake in the toilet.
This is the start of the Gibb River Road, a big part of the trip that we've certainly been looking forward to. This is what fishing's all about. Yeah, it's not a bad size.
We'll make a few dinners.
Oh yeah.